Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Divi Nation. Divi Nation is a podcast and video show by Elegant Themes, creators of Divi, the ultimate WordPress theme and visual page builder. Now the goal of Divi Nation is really simple. We want to provide you with the knowledge, insights, and supportive community that you need to be successful with WordPress and Divi. I'm your host, Nathan B. Weller, and as your host, it's my job to facilitate that success by having various guests from the Divi and wider WordPress community onto the show to share their stories and experiences with you. Or at least that's what the average full-length episode is like. In these, which are Divi Nation shorts, we actually pick a topic and we go over that kind of one-on-one. And so in this episode, I'll be talking to you about three things, all under the topic of Divi Nation meetups. First, I'll be providing an update on where our meetup community is at and what our goals are for the remainder of the year. Second, I'll explain how you can become a Divi Nation Meetup event host. And finally, I'll walk you through how to go about getting your very first Divi Nation Meetup off the ground in just 4 easy steps. Sound good? I hope so, because here we go. All right, number 1, Divi Nation Meetup update. So let's talk about where the Divi Nation Meetup community is right now. So from purely numbers perspective, we're just shy of 500 members. Now this is nice, but it's pretty modest growth for the year if we're being honest. It's about 17 new members per month. And it's clear to me that growth in our member count is closely tied to how many events we do per year. So we get the bulk of our new members whenever we start promoting a new meetup here on the blog and on the podcast. So if we're going to see more growth in the remainder of this year and throughout 2018, we'll need to schedule a lot more meetups. So that's where the next stat comes into play. So I'm happy to report that we now have 11 community members who have volunteered themselves to organize local meetups in their areas. So that's 11 places around the country and around the world in which new local meetups can start to happen. It actually looks like 2 of them, Colleen and Patty Rose from New York and Long Island, have already organized one event, and I've heard rumblings from a few others that their first event is on the way too. So keep an eye out for those new community-led events coming your way. In my experience, it's the first event that takes the longest to get off the ground, to get going. But after you have a few under your belt, it can really start to pick up and not only get easier, but grow exponentially. So point number 2, how you can become a Divi Nation Meetup host. So this one is easy and it won't take much time to explain. If you're interested in becoming a local host for Divi Nation events, all you have to do is join our meetup page and send me a message expressing your interest using the meetup messaging system. So you and I will have a short back and forth. I'll share with you our event host handbook, and then we'll work together to get your first event on the calendar. Easy as that. And to prove it, I'm going to share with you a bit of our event host handbook now so that you can see what kinds of resources we've developed to help make this process really, really easy. So the third point and final point that we've got here is how to launch your first Divi Nation meetup in just 4 steps. So first step, choose a topic and a format. So we've got a few formats that you might be familiar with. The first one you're almost definitely familiar with. It's called presentations on predefined topics. Now this is the kind of stuff that you would see at your average WordCamp or meetup where someone has a topic, someone has a presenter, they bring the two together, and that person gives, say, a 20-30 minute presentation. But there are a lot of other formats that you can choose, and you can pick a topic that is paired well with the format that you want to do. So there's panel discussions. You can do round tables where everyone sits at the table and everyone who's present is their own kind of presenter, and you just have a sort of open forum discussion. You can do workshops in which you have a topic that everybody brings their laptops and you just work through a problem. You can have an open Q&A where you have an expert who is the presenter and you just open the floor up for questions. You can also have a social mixer where you just get together to kind of break the ice and have people in your area meet up for the first time and kind of talk about what it is that they do with Divi. So in order to figure out which presentation format is going to be right for you, you'll want to get a topic. Now, we've got a huge list of potential topics in our event handbook, but here's just a few to kind of get the gears turning. So you could do getting started with Divi, getting started with Extra, how to create your own Divi child theme, how to build a one-page website with Divi, an overview of Divi's visual builder, discovering Divi's hidden features, mastering split testing with Divi Leads, using Divi's powerful library and portability system, and so much more. So see the full list in the accompanying blog post that we have here. I'm going to include that whole section from our handbook into the blog post. So you'll want to scroll down and check that out. Okay, so the next step that you need to do is book a venue. So there are a few venues that just about every town has that I think are great natural fits for a Divi Nation meetup. So the first one is a public library. So this is obvious, it's free. So if you have a public library system in your area, which almost everyone does, there's usually a conference room or sometimes really robust and nice presentation rooms that you can book in advance for free. All you need is a library card. So that's a really natural fit. The only catch here is that it can be difficult, especially if the public library system in your area is really nice, that those rooms are in high demand. So it's definitely worth checking out though. The other options I see are community centers, startup or tech incubators, co-working spaces, colleges, coffee shops, and bars and restaurants. So only you are going to be able to decide which of those is the best fit for you, your event, and your area. But those are some places, if you have no idea where to start looking, that you should definitely start looking to get the ball rolling. There are a few things you want to consider every time you look at a venue to see if it's actually going to be a good fit for your meetup. A few questions you want to ask is the location easy to find? Is there space for 10 to 20 people? Will the group have enough quiet and privacy to conduct a meaningful discussion? Is there equipment available for you to use for presentations, such as projectors and a screen or a whiteboard? Are there plenty of plugs available for people who have brought laptops? Is it okay to have food and drinks? And are there accessible bathrooms? Another consideration is the venue handicap accessible? These are all pretty important and going to impact the success of your event. So you definitely want to make these considerations before you decide on your final venue selection. Okay, so just to review real quick, choose a topic and a format, find a venue, and book it. All right, step 3, create your event posting. So if you get to step 3, you've already done all the hard work. Now all that's left to do is create your event posting and promote it. So Meetup is an incredibly simple tool and allows you to create a posting in just a few clicks. And we've actually created step-by-step instructions on how to do that in the event host handbook. So I don't really want to get into the step-by-step tutorial here in this video because it's really simple. It's about 4 steps, and we have it outlined already for you if you decide to go down that path. All right, and finally, step number 4, promote your meetup. So once you've created your event posting, it's time to promote it. The first and easiest thing you should do is to announce your event. This is a feature built into Meetup that simply notifies everyone who's a member of our group that a new event is on the calendar. After that, though, it's time to get a bit creative. Here are a few promotional tips that should help you. So first, you're going to want to leverage your personal network. If you know people in your area who use Divi, shoot them an email, send them a text, Facebook message, tweet, smoke signal, whatever it takes. Just let them know that you've got an event planned just for them in your area. Once you get a few RSVPs, ask those attendees to leverage their personal networks too, and you might be surprised at how quickly the RSVPs rack up with just a few simple requests. Next, another thing that you might want to do is start a Facebook group for your meetup, something that can kind of build momentum and get people on that platform who are not necessarily interested in engaging on Meetup itself. You can also create flyers and place them at coffee shops and around universities. These don't have to be really expensive or lavish in nature. All you gotta do is just print out the details and on regular or even cheap paper, cut them out and just put a little stack next to the register at a coffee shop or a bar or on a message board somewhere. It's really easy and it's actually surprisingly effective. Another thing you can do that's really effective if you can do it is ask to be placed in the newsletters or announcement sections of local newspapers or blogs that cover stuff in your area. That's a huge one. Those publications usually have thousands and thousands of readers who are local and engaged in what's going on. And so they're going to be natural picks for people who would want to come and be interested in your meetup. Finally, if you are invested in the idea of being an event host and you want to schedule multiple meetups at once, that's a great habit to get into. 3 or more meetups on the calendar in advance and announced is such a great way to get people in the habit of not only RSVPing, but showing up and making a spot in their schedule for your event, which is really huge. So sometimes the turnout to the first couple can be kind of sparse, but then as people really work it into their lifestyle, things start to really pick up and grow. Okay, so if you want to get really crazy, we have even more ideas in our event organizer handbook. So if you decide to become an event host, you'll see, or rather you'll get that handbook and you'll be able to see all the meetups all the meetup ideas and resources we have for you. And I promise you, if you follow that guide to the letter, we are confident that you're going to have an active local Divi meetup in no time. It's going to be awesome. And I know I just covered a ton of material. So if your head is spinning right now from this video, it's okay. Just pause or stop the video, scroll down and just reference the resources that we've listed below here. And above all, make sure you join the meetup page. And if you're interested in becoming an event host, go ahead and shoot me a message so that we can get this process started. We can share that event organizer handbook with you, and we can get your very first event on the calendar right away. All right, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'll be back here next week with a brand new full-length episode of Divi Nation. Until then, see you guys around the community.